This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to Teach Me Pokemon, the podcast. I'm your host, Cory, and along with my co-host, Jared, we're best friends, been playing Pokemon for a very long time.
All right, everybody, what's up? Welcome to Teach Me Pokemon. I am Jared, with me, my co-host, Cory. We're doing what we do every week, which is passionately discussing what's going on in the Pokemon TCG in the name of trying to get better. We have folks on that teach us to get better. Watching the game helps us get better. And as always, practicing the game helps us get better. Cory, how are you here on the doorstep? Not this weekend, but next weekend of Worlds.
Man, yeah, everyone, we're getting ready. It's happening. I'm excited. I hired an interior decorator for my makeshift studio here today. As you can see, all my beautiful decorations here in the background. So there you go. I did that. But Jared, I entered this morning with some validation.
Oh, and this segment we're going to call TV Reporter. What's the news, Cory?
TV Reporter, there was a rant I went on with you on a phone call about 2 days ago about a card, and particularly a whole deck centered around probably the stupidest concept in Pokemon TCG right now. And it's so stupid. And you were laughing, and I was very serious. And it's this Peturant. I can't say the name. You get poisoned, and 120 damage counters later, you're dead, and you didn't even get to go, right? And I told you those mechanics don't work in Pokemon International. They will come after you. And guess what card is banned at Worlds, Jared?
Wow. They
Peturant.
banned it. I did not know that.
Now, I think there's like some speculation on different reasons why, like, they didn't outright say, well, it doesn't let you play the game. But it doesn't let you play the game. Like, they made a boo-boo. Okay, they made a boo-boo with that card. I probably am owed at least 30 whatever ranking points on Pokemon Live because I've lost to that thing 3 times. So I want those back. So I will be messaging Pokemon. But yeah, Jared. So validation, they heard the phone call. I told you it should be banned. It's a terrible card. And lo and behold, Pokemon heard us. They hear us. Like we have weight. We have some weight in the not just the community, but the company, maybe like the money side of this thing, like whatever you want to call the business of Pokemon. But anyway, it's
That's
banned.
interesting. Well,
Don't run it.
Let's spend I'd love to hear your feedback on, do you think it is just because of its ability to poison? Correct me if I'm wrong. Are we talking about the EX, or are we talking about, isn't there a basic non-EX as well?
The basic yeah, here, let me pull it up. Yeah, the basic non-EX. It's like a promo card, right? It's
Got you.
Peturant, 80 HP. The ability is, as long as this Pokemon's in the active spot, put 5 more damage counters on your opponent's poisoned Pokemon during checkup. So that's the ability. It's 80 HP. It's a 1 prizer, basic, obviously. So you get that in play. You get the Brute Bonnet, put the capsule on. They're poison. Like, you can do the Hisuian. Like, there's ways to pump this up. And it's, I've seen 120 damage, 120 poison counters on me, and it's like, geez Louise. So yeah, had to go. I think it just the theory. I mean, they've always said anything that doesn't allow your opponent to play the game, and that's what happens. And that's why these cards that's why they get removed, because before I can even do anything in the game, I'm either gone, I'm knocked out, and we're going on to game 2, or you're able to play, like, can't play a supporter turn 1. A lot of that was because there are some supporters that are pretty disruptive. Like, you can't judge going first, right? You can't do that. Back in the day, the Geddes, it's like, look at your opponent's hand, and if they had any item cards in there, it's like, then draw as many cards as that, and they put it back in their deck. Like, it's just brutal stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, it had to go. It was too powerful. Too powerful going first.
Well, that's really interesting because it's pretty late in the game because I'm sure were some world contenders that were practicing this deck that were thinking about, maybe this quick option. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting at this point in the game, having not seen it at any major tournament, to make that ruling.
Well, they did because they took my phone call. I called them. I called them up and I said, "Look, I've played it 3 times. I've lost all 3 times. I didn't even get to play. Can we ban it?" Because like we're so trained, like I don't know when this changed, but like back in the day when we would play, Jared, you would like if you and I we sit down, you're gonna go second. You're probably gonna lay your bench, like you're gonna lay your starting Pokemon, and then you're like, well, I have 2 other bench, right? So you're gonna open with like you're gonna show your opponent my starter, obviously, and then you have a couple bench. And that's been probably pretty true over time. I think this day and age, like you are like a scrub. Why would you ever lay down what you're going to put down on your bench to open the game, right? So you're only really putting down your starter, right?
Absolutely.
Whatever in the active spot, you're laying it down. So you don't really have a backup. So even if you had it in your hand, you're probably not laying it down. So this poison thing's going to knock you out in the game anyway, because you're just not used to laying down
Right, because
multiple.
and we talked about this at the end of last week, like, and when we were talking about quitting, like, you don't want to give more information.
Not that we were quitting. You
No,
and I are.
not that we were quitting, but
Oh, okay.
conceding a game strategically.
Mhm.
But you were talking about how one of the biggest reasons you would concede early in a game 1 scenario was, well, I don't want people to see my ace spec. I don't want people to know that you used Drapion from seasons past, that if I'm playing against Mew, that X, Y, and Z is having. So I get that. Like, people are, I feel like, more hesitant to lay stuff down. Stall is prevalent. You lay the wrong thing down, whoop,
Yeah.
stick it, game's over.
Yeah.
So maybe, but that's very interesting. Usually it takes Pokemon tournaments, plural, to
Mhm.
see the error of their ways. So maybe this is a good thing for Worlds.
Yeah, I think Lysander's trump card, I think was in like a weekend of tournaments, and then they were like, "No, gotta ban
No.
banning this thing for life." So yeah, that was odd. Now maybe it comes back after Worlds. Maybe they don't want to debut this thing at the biggest tournament of the year. So we're gonna let the players that go to Baltimore play it. But yeah, won't be at Worlds, so you won't hear me ranting about it. So there you go. Good job, Pokemon.
All right,
Good job.
Pokemon, we see you. All right, well, I'm going to bring us into our first non-news segment of today. And Cory, I think you're very much going to like this segment.
Oh,
This segment is called Power Glass. It is based off of the new Power Glass tool card, where if your Pokemon is sitting in the active at the end of the turn, you can attach an energy to it from your discard. But I
Ooh.
picked it more from the name. These are quick fire questions that
Oh.
we need powerful, quick answers from both of us. We'll go
Oh.
back and forth. I've got about 15 of them, but these
Oh,
are quick fire answers.
Jeez.
You
Okay.
got to be ready, because some of these are hot takes. So
I'm ready.
going into Worlds, question number 1. What's going to be the most popular day 1 deck at Worlds?
Regidrago.
Regidrago. I think Gardevoir is going to stay consistent. People saw it. I'm saying Gardevoir. We will see what happens there. Cory, I'm going to throw this one to you. What's going to be the most popular day 2 deck?
Ooh, Charizard, Dusknoir, Pidgeot.
Oh, okay. You really are a believer in that right now.
I think it'll be good. I don't know why. It's like I bounce into music. We have no music played.
We have
Okay, maybe we should. Cue the music, Matthew.
Cue the music. I am going to say, I'm just going straight down the line. It's going to be Guardy again. It's going to be Guardy everywhere. There's nothing that can beat this stupid deck. I hate it. I hate it.
Wow.
But I'm going back-to-back Guardies everywhere, but I like where you're coming at. Cory, what's going to win? What's the winning deck of Worlds?
Regidrago by a Japanese player.
Oh, well, you're
Yeah.
reading my mind, because I do have some questions about that later on.
Daiichi, I hear you, baby.
I'm looking at a repeat. It's going to be a Lost Box variant. Lost Box Variants is taking down Worlds. It is
Wow.
time. Some
Even-
version of Comfy will be
with,
in there.
Even with Kyurem, huh? It's gonna be.
That's the temptation, Cory, is to run away and be afraid. But this is the Mew VMAX of our day. Actually, I would like to change my answer to Mew VMAX will win Worlds.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
changing my
Changing
answer.
your
Yeah.
and Battle
Uh,
VIP pass. Okay.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna like this one. Over under
Oh,
2.5 decks of repeating decks. So for our listeners who don't know what an over under is, if Cory picks the under, he's saying there will be 2 or less repeating decks, the same deck variant, not deck list 60 for 60. Will there be 2 or will there be 3 repeating decks in the top 8 at Worlds?
Oh, in top 8. Okay.
In
Oh
top
my
8.
gosh. Okay. So sorry. So like if there's a lost Tina in a lost box, that's 2 different decks.
Yes, because that is ranked differently as you see them and limitless. So yes, we would count that as 2 different.
But if
I'm
there's
saying Lost Box variants, Lost Tina is its own animal.
okay, but lost box variants all count.
Yes,
Together.
it's all one.
Oh, what's the over under set at?
2.5.
2.5. Oh, give me. Oh, you got. Give me under. Under.
I'm taking the under 2. I think there's
Yeah.
so much variance right now, so I'm going to
Yeah.
take the under as well.
I mean, there will be 3 Shin Pow decks, so actually maybe I should go over.
There will be no such thing. That is not happening. What will the highest finishing position for a stall deck be?
Oh, top 4.
I need a number.
Well, but it like if they, how does like third? But
Third, yeah.
What's the difference between 3rd and 4th?
According to Pokemon, money, place, prestige. I
No,
don't know.
they don't do that. It's like top 4, top 8 because there's not like a.
Fine. I'll let you. Okay, so you're saying there will be a stall deck in top 4.
It will be 3rd or 4th.
Okay.
It won't make finals, but it'll be 3rd or 4th. Get 3rd. I'll take 3rd.
I had 5th, so I guess I'm saying top 8.
You're saying
I think it makes a big.
but
splash.
it has to be. It has to finish 5th through 8th for you to be right. It can't finish 2nd and you're still right.
Agreed.
Okay.
I'm saying it will
And
not.
I'm
make
saying
the top
3rd
4.
or 4th.
Yes.
Okay.
What will the highest finishing position for a rogue deck be at Worlds?
Oh man, I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess it's whatever Yoshi's going to be running this. So I would say top. It's not going to win though. I'll say top 16. I think this Worlds will be a little wily this year. There'll be a rogue deck in the top 16. So 14th.
14th. I'm saying we will see one crack the top 30. I think someone's just going to come out, even with this new Shrouded Fable set of 95 cards. I believe someone will get up there. I don't think they'll break in, but Cory's saying a top 16.
There'll be a top. It'll lose the winning in on stream against a Reggie Drago deck.
I think so here's my next question for you. As you see right here, we have my Meowth just showed up.
I was like, there's something on your couch.
Not yet a Persian.
Yeah. No.
But okay. These are more. These next couple of questions are going to be a little more subjective, but I still am interested in your thought. What is going to be the most important Pokemon at Worlds?
The most important Pokemon at Worlds is going to be Squawkabilly.
Wow. Okay.
I think the Squawk is going to put in some heavy lifting in this tournament because I think Reggie Drago is going to do heavy lifting. I think it's going to be both a liability, and I think it's going to be both, like it always is. So I think that card is going to play. It's going to get some noise, make some noise in the tournament, in both good or bad.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't go this way because this is the way that I'm going based purely on who I think is going to win. Comfey's the most important Pokemon at this World because it's going to win. It's always called Lost Box. It never gets its credit. You and I have had this conversation before, but I think Comfey is going to be the most important Pokemon.
Yeah.
At it, if I'm wrong, then the answer will be Kyurem. So then we will see what happens there. What's going to be the most important supporter card at Worlds this year?
Um, I mean, it's so hard to not say like Iono or Boss Order. I'm gonna say it's Iono. It always is Iono. Iono down to 2. Iono down to 1. Oh, they Iono'd. Oh, they top decked the boss. Like it's always Iono. So give me Iono.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. It's the best supporter card that we have right now. There's nothing really to counteract it that's not super deep. Like we've talked about some of these Pokemon that stage 1 that don't let you get Iono the next turn, or even our new stadium in this new set. What is it called? The University at Night or something. I know I'm saying that incorrectly.
Oh yeah, where you could put the
those are deep plays and very situational. It's Academy at Night, excuse me.
Academy at Night.
But yeah, I agree. I think Iono is going to continue, especially now based on your news earlier that they're getting rid of all hope of donking people, which drives me nuts.
Get that trash out.
So I agree. What's going to be the most important item card at Worlds, Cory?
Earthen Vessel will be the most important item card at Worlds. I think it gets you into the fire, the leaf energy. It's a teal dance. It finds your dark energy for Monkey Dory. It also discards, which is always nice. It would depend on the deck you run. I think Earthen Vessel.
Wow, I really like that. I really like that pick.
Yeah.
I think the most important item card is I'm going more of an ace spec route.
Oh, okay.
I think that there's going to be some opportunities for just more hand disruption, Cory. I just think that reset or the unfair stamp is going to just poke its ugly head out even more. Like, these are not bad players. And if I can Iono you and then it unfair into I just think disruption is huge right now. So I'm saying unfair stamp.
Unfair stamp is probably a good bet there. I mean, that's the most game changer.
It is.
So yeah,
it is.
I agree.
Cory, what's the most important tool card right now for Worlds?
Oh, tool card. I feel like Forest Sealstone has been the most important tool card for 9 Worlds in a row. So I don't want to say Forest Seal. Give me. I'll go biased here, and I forget the name of it, but give me the fan. The I've been running a lot of stall online, and it's a sneaky good card. It being able to move your opponent's energy around somewhere. So if I foresee a stall deck making it, or at least a control deck, into top 4, that means that card has done some heavy lifting. So give me the fan. I forget the name. Forgive me for my name.
Handheld fan. Cory's coming in with handheld fan.
Handheld fan.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Fan.
I'm going rescue board, actually.
Oh, yeah.
I think I don't disagree. This will probably be the last Worlds that we do see some of these non-Scarlet Violet cards that sneak in here that are still very, very powerful. But I really think the ability to throw that board on something and have that Pokemon that's not traditionally retreatable for free out there on the chain, it just changes things, right? It's not a hard decision on the turn your Pokemon gets knocked out, and we forget the utility that comes with something like that. So I'm saying rescue board again fits into my Comfy narrative, so it's fine.
Yeah, fits into your. You gotta have the story. The story has to play out.
Just my narrative. This is the narrative that I'm building. What's going to be the most important energy going into Worlds?
The most important energy, it's got to be, I'm going to say leaf energy.
Ooh, not picking a special energy.
It's going to be leaf because the teal dance is so vitally important in a lot of these decks. I did dabble with a little Lost Tina, and it's not terrible. It still has some of its old issues, but it's not terrible. That has leaf energy as well. So I was gonna say, well, I don't want, you might say it. So I'm gonna say Leaf. Give me Leaf Energy is gonna have the most to say at this tournament.
Wow. I really thought you'd be going for some type of special energy here, so I'm kind of shocked by that.
No special energy. I'm not believing in Lugia in this thing. I just
That's fair.
think I think, yeah. Even though I had a pretty incredible streak on live on the ranked ladder recently, and I'm now up to 3 losses to update you. 2 of which were against other control decks, which I just can't win those with this stall deck. But the third one was a very frustrating Lugia match, and I just can't stand that deck right now. So
That's fair.
no Lugia. Anyway, so no special energy.
Cory, you have long prophesied the importance of a certain type of special energy, and it's going to be its coming out party at Worlds this year. The Mist Energy
Yes.
will
Yeah.
make some big plays in this
Okay.
year's Worlds.
Okay.
And I know that's in Lugia, but I just think with all of the damage counters flying around right now,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see
Okay.
some clutch Mist Energies hit.
So you can't de-evolve. Is that why
Yeah,
you're saying it would
Get
be
rid of the
close?
de-evolutor, get rid of something. Like, I think the best players in the world will have a 1-off, 2-off of this for that clutch moment,
Okay.
especially to get it done. So I'm going to say Mist Energy.
All right. Okay. All right.
All right, now back to some fun ones here. I think you'll enjoy these.
Okay.
All right. Over under
Oh.
1.5 cards from Shrouded Fables in the winning deck. So, to be clear here, I'm talking singular cards, not multiple copies. So if you have 4 power glasses in your deck, that's just one. I'm talking about different types of cards. Over under 1.5 cards from the newest set in the winning decks 60.
Oh. Over or under 1.5?
1.5.
I don't know the names. Pheasantipity EX is a staple right now in a lot of decks.
Yep.
So I like that. The what's the one that allows you to switch and then you're poisoned?
Janine's.
Yes, that has also been very popular.
Wait, is that Janine's? No.
No, I don't know. It's not.
Oh,
Janine.
I'm sorry. You're talking about the Pokemon. I got
The
caught up in
Pokemon. It's an EX, a basic EX.
It's the.
It looks like a. Has
It's
that little
Petron.
jelly-
It's Petron EX.
Oh, Petra. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. I think the stadium could have some the neutralization zone. Yeah. What other big one am I missing? Give me over 1.5. I'm missing another.
Ooh.
Over 1.5. Because it'll have Petrant or it'll have Pheasant Dip. That'll be one of the. So I just have to spike another one.
Right,
And I
and
feel like
we're
I'm missing another really popular one.
We won't count reprints. Like, I know the Monkey Dory got a pretty.
Nah.
Dusknor.
Yeah.
Dusknor is probably your other big one.
Dusknor, Xerosix Mechanics, my favorite card right now. That could potentially make its way. Rescue Board or Rescue Stretcher or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over 1.5. Call my bookie or my friend, not a bookie, my friend. Call over 1.5.
Oh my goodness. I'm saying under. I really think there's just going to be I'm looking at my narratives. I really think there's just going to be a one-off that gets stuck off, and it may be a 4-copied, right? But especially now with the news of what you're saying, all of these other cards really fall off if this poison deck was going to make a run, right? Like your Binding Mochi, your all these other things. So I agree with you. I think the Pheasantipity is a staple, and we will find that in the winning deck, but I don't know that it'll be coupled with anything else from this set.
Gotcha. So if Charizard wins Worlds and it has Duskull, Dusclops, Dusknor, that's 3. Right?
That's it. Auto
win. Yeah,
auto win.
Over 1.5. Book it.
All right. The next one. Over under 3.5 North Americans in the top 8 of Worlds.
Oh my gosh. Over under 3.5. Okay.
North
So-
Americans.
You got to have Tord.
But he ain't North American.
I'm counting the non-North Americans. So Tord, you got to have. I think Japan is going to.
Well, hold on. We have a Japan question.
Well, hold on. So okay, I'm just counting this up. So let's say 2 Japanese players. Tord, that's 3. Brent Tonneson, that's 4. And then Latin America, like, has been killing it this year. William, like Pedro. So give me under 3.5. Sorry, NA. Wait. You said US or NA?
NA. So
We get Canada too.
You get Canada in there too.
Do we get Mexico too?
We do get Mexico. That is in North America.
I will still. It's in a different league. Like, they say US and America is in like one thing, and then Mexico.
I'm thinking more geographical and less. I'm living outside of the. I'm giving you all of that.
All right.
Central America. Yeah. Come on.
Under 3.5.
All right. I'm taking the over. I really think that we will see like the Olympics right now, just a very heavy American presence in there with Canada, with Mexico. Give me over. I think it'll be right at 4, but I'm going to risk it and take the over here. Wow. How many Japanese, over under 1.5 Japanese players?
You changed that to 1.5.
I did it. I did it. I will show it to you on my paper. The line is in. Over under 1.5 Japanese players.
Over.
I'm with you on that. It's
over.
I'm 100% taking that with you.
They were put to shame on their home country last year. There's going to be a retribution this year.
All right.
They're ready.
You're down to your last 2 questions, Cory. Will someone who has been on our podcast win Worlds?
Oh my gosh. Oh. Aiden.
Don't have to name a name. I'm just saying this is a yes, no.
Well, can I just explain just a
absolutely,
tad here?
Absolutely.
I think Aiden has had an incredible season. But Aiden, you're young. You got some time to get at this for a while. So I don't know if Aiden's going to take it down. Raul, one of the better, like, just people in Pokemon. I think he's just a really good guy. He's obviously super skilled. Has played in Australia this year. Has played obviously in NA, Europe, Latin America. He has a strong case. I just don't know.
Lucas.
Lucas. I mean, if you want to get on the Shan Pao bandwagon, Jared, then Lucas could get there. Colin. There's no Mew anymore, so that kind of takes Colin out of the mix. Sorry, buddy. Stefan probably has. He's a guy that could enter that tournament and just win. Like he could. He's good enough. Saw him at NAIC, the biggest tournament we've ever had here, and get very, 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 very close to winning that sucker. But sadly, I'm going to say no, because we have yet to have a Japanese player on the podcast yet. So even though you were there, you were in Tokyo, and we could have interviewed everybody, but whatever, had other obligations, I suppose. So I'm going to say no.
Never bet against Teach Me Pokemon guests. Never bet against them, Cory. There is unrivaled talent in the group of people that we have had on the show. How dare you? How dare you? Give me the yes. Give me the yes.
Do we get the whole Cifuentes family?
Absolutely, we get the whole Cifuentes family.
We need an
Absolutely. I'm totally bringing them in.
I want to know if the father made it. I want to know if he made it to Worlds.
Sure. We've got Pokedads that have been on here. Like, let's not.
That's true.
I don't know if James made World or not.
I think James just missed it. Carson technically was mentioned. He wasn't on it, but he's a senior as well. So
that's a different story. If we said, like, have we said the name of the winner on the podcast? Probably we have. Here's my last question. let's and this is based off of the no. If it wasn't somebody on our podcast, final prediction, who's taking it home this year?
I am going with, just because he is a big name and he's in Japan, and I think Daiichi has put in the work. He worked out with Tord. He did his workout video, and I think he's going to be on Reggie Drago. Put that deck in that man's hands in this tournament. He wins it.
Cory, there's a narrative that's been building in Pokemon, and it's been done wisely, whether it's been by chance or if really Pokemon is nothing other than the WWE of TCG.
Uh-huh.
But Tord was destined to not win last year.
Oh,
Destined. In the film world, we call this building tension. Okay.
Oh, yes.
There's no movie if Tord wins last year, if he doesn't runner up, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And now this is the Rocky championship where it's like, well, does he hang it up? He's getting older. But no, Tord comes roaring back with a Lost Box deck and wins the world. That's my narrative, and I'm sticking to it.
That's ASA 9, ASA 10, ASA 11, ASA 12. I love Tord. Tord, you're a great dude. I think it's over. I just think it's over. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
These have been written down. We will be looking at what we actually did. Our follow-up episode to Worlds will be a complete comprehensive Worlds breakdown, in addition to having a segment on where we got it right and where we got it wrong. It'll be a lot of fun. So Power Glass coming back at you. And in the meantime, Cory, we got to say before we get into our next segment, if you're not using your downtime to just enjoy opening packs of the new set, what are you doing? And if you don't want to spend the money, why are you not watching Stray Collections open up Shrouded Fables packs?
I have no idea why you're not doing that. I mean, some of the best pack opening content on YouTube. And not only does he have that, but he has a great shop, great prices. The dude, straight from a pack to a protective sleeve. Maybe get some PSA 10s out of this. I don't know. I think Stray Collections with a Z, his YouTube channel and his shop. So go for it.
I love it. Well, that's going to wrap up our first segment. Cory, we're moving into a segment now called, again, based off of one of the cards in our new set, the Neutralization Zone.
Oh, one of my faves.
Great new card. I think we will see this creatively at Worlds. If you're not familiar with the card, it won't let you attack if you have a Pokemon with a rule box. All damage. No damage, Cory.
No damage. You can't hit me.
Can't hit me.
Sorry.
So, which really, I think, amplifies the potential of other cards being played. It is a one-off. It can't come out of the discard pile. We understand some of the kickbacks to it. But I like the Neutralization Zone for our next conversation, because we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but really Worlds is a neutralization zone for a lot of the best players. Why? They're not playing scrubs anymore.
Okay.
Round 1 at Worlds looks vastly different than round 1 at a regional. So, okay. Cory, as you look at the competitive landscape of Worlds, what does get neutralized for a lot of these players? Does the pack really thin and the competitive looks something like the Olympics? Or is there still a wide gap between the best player there and the worst player at Worlds? The worst player at Worlds.
Yeah. I think well, two things. What gets neutralized. So a lot of these guys you're on these teams, which is great. I think there is an aspect sometimes, especially in the early rounds, of like, hey, I'm playing against a guy that's on the shuffle squad, or whatever, this other team. And there's like 20 people on that same team here. Well, like 9 of them are probably just hype dudes. Right? They're not going to make it to Worlds, but they're there. So it looks like mass number, and they start gathering around the table. You get a little nervous, make a misplay, you lose. At Worlds, that's not the case, right? Because they're only taking the players that actually qualify. So like, I think it becomes less about like the mob mentality. And it's like, you still have a team. I mean, some of these good teams have good players on them, so they're all going to be there. But you don't have like the extra people with them. And I think that kind of neutralizes it a little bit. But you also get neutralized in the sense that, yeah, you cannot take a round off, right? I mean, you should go into regionals, not overlooking your opponent. But in reality, sometimes your round one person is, maybe newer to the game. And this, your round one opponent ain't newer to the game. Now, you might get some regions that like snuck players in that aren't as good, and that can happen for sure. But I think the playing field gets neutralized because every round is like you could lose. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. So I think that's the neutralization zone coming into this is the playing field's leveled, and you don't have those extra people, especially when a Worlds is like in Hawaii, where like you just can't have your squad follow you there. It's just harder to travel.
I think that's really good. I've been wondering this a lot, looking at the field, like, because again, never been to a Worlds, never played in a Worlds, probably won't. But just like I mentioned, and even watching the Olympics, like, I feel like the mentality has to change a little bit. And that's because, as I mentioned with the title of our segment, some things just aren't a factor anymore. So, like I agree, like, the nerves are going to be there, but you're sitting down with the best players in the world. Does wacky rogue variants get neutralized at Worlds? Because we've talked to some of the best players and they say, yeah, I'm actually more worried about what the first 3 rounds looks like versus what's after that. So are only the best of the best decks here too? And that makes people more neutralized as well? What are your thoughts on that?
I think there is an unknown going into it, which does provide like a neutralization of understanding of like what the meta is, because it's all over the place. Like, we hear some of these pro or full-time players talk about like they really build the meta off of like what are happening at major tournaments, right? That's what a meta is. But without major tournaments, it's hard to know what the meta is, especially when you throw in a new set too. So I think the likelihood of like rogue will definitely be there, but it's hard to know even if they're rogue. Maybe they are meta. They just look rogue to us. But when you go to the next for regionals of 2024, 25, it's going to be everywhere. And it was like, oh, actually, that wasn't a rogue deck. That was a new meta deck. So I think you will see some rogue stuff because there's been a lot of time to put new things together and a new set, but maybe they won't feel as rogue down the road. That'd be my take.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think it's a give and a take. I think you have to be more aware of your opponent because they are all big names now. These are not unknown to anybody in the community. But I do think you're more likely to run into a meta deck round one that you're just going to have to play through, and it's not something wacky that you're unprepared for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, okay,
yeah.
But then let's flip it. What doesn't get neutralized at Worlds? Some of these factors do. What doesn't?
What doesn't get neutralized? Tord Reklev does not get neutralized. He's still Tord at these things. I think a player like Azul doesn't get neutralized. I think, when you're at these levels, I think you're still just who you are, even if you're playing against a field of a lot better players than maybe you would at a small tournament. So I think that's there. And I still think these guys, like, even though it's very competitive, I still think the like love or the joy of like playing Pokemon, I think is still there. And I know when you're at like NAIC or these regionals, there's like so many people there that are just there for like the atmosphere or whatever. They're not there really to competitive. They're there to play, but maybe they don't think they can win. And I think at this tournament at Worlds, I think the easy assumption is to be like, oh, everyone's here. They're pissed off. They just want to win. And if they don't win, they fly home instantly and they don't care about the atmosphere. I don't think that's the case. I think everyone that's there, win or lose, like it still enjoys being involved and all the theatrics and the celebrations and everything that comes with it, I think is still they enjoy that part of it too. So
Yeah.
that's not the joy is not neutralized.
Is name recognition neutralized? Is it less scary to go up against an Azul or a Tord or a Brent or pick your Andrew? Like, is it less scary
Yeah.
for some of these people? Does the name recognition get neutralized a little bit at Worlds?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's a smaller tournament, right? So and it's all the best players or the players you know. So and they all know each other. So yeah, I just think that part of it doesn't affect as much as it would at a larger tournament when you have players that are like up and coming, and then they play against a player that's like, oh my gosh, I'm playing against I'm playing against Andrew or I'm playing against this person. It's like, but here that's just not a thing because they're all, I think, in their minds, like they're all the same level or better than each other, right? Not going into it being like, oh man, I'm gonna get smashed here,
Right.
so.
True or false? Mistakes are amplified at Worlds.
I think there's less mistakes, but I do think I bet you they would be amplified. Yes. I mean, when you're on a bigger stage and you make a boo boo, especially if it's on stream, uh, that will, I mean, people are going to remember it for sure.
I don't mean like the social of it, just in the game state. Like, is a mistake at Worlds bigger than a mistake at regionals? Like, is it
Yes.
going to be jumped on, pounced on harder?
Yes. Yes.
Why?
I think more people are watching. I think when you go to like an IC or a regionals, there's 2,000, now 2,500, almost 3,000 people, and they're not watching the stream. Now, like when I was at NAIC and you would tell me stuff that was on stream, it's like, okay. But now you have a majority of the field, everyone's watching. No one's playing. So I just think it's magnified because there's more eyeballs on it in the moment. And then people are tweeting about it. So I think that's why it's magnified, just because there's more people watching it.
I agree. And I think, yeah, just the quality of player punishes. Like, I would feel 10 times worse about not even being on stream, just making a mistake at Worlds versus making a mistake at regionals, because I know probably that lets open a bigger window for opportunity for my opponent than it does. Closing thoughts. Go ahead.
We talk about this all the time. It's like Pokemon is a game. It's truly a game of you make less mistakes than your opponent. Like if you make less boo-boos than your opponent, you probably have a good chance of winning. So when you get to these stages, these better players just don't make many mistakes. But when you do make a mistake, that means your opponent's just going to jump all over it. Like, it's just really hard to, I think, come back after you make a mistake against a player that's not going to make mistakes. Like, I think that's why Tord is so good, because he probably makes the least amount of mistakes out of any top player. So you just know when you go into a game against Tord, you can still win. I mean, he can have 3 Curlies prized, right? That just happens. That's the variance we talk about. But as far as like gameplay, what's the best move in this on this turn, he usually always makes it. So the mistakes there won't be as many, but when there are, that'll cost you a game.
Yeah,
like, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's good. I just wanted to have a conversation because I'm trying to get our listeners into the mindset of what really does get neutralized and amplified as we roll into this tournament. Like, nerves are high, pressures are high, but also the skill level is so much higher. And it's just going to be really fun to watch people that are usually in the top 8, top 16s of all these tournaments. Now we're just, every stream is a star struck event, right?
Mm-hmm.
The round 3 stream is going to be just as good as the round 4, 5, 6. And what we're hoping to see is a variance of decks played by the best players in the world, and to try to get into the psyche of these players playing this really, really intriguing new meta as we have like a mini set almost come in and shake it up before Worlds.
Agreed. Yep. No doubt.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, that's going to wrap up the neutralization zone.
Neutralization zone.
Now we're going into our educational moment, which is actually brought to you by Colress's Tenacity.
Oh.
I don't think we'll see this card at Worlds, especially with Kyurem, but it brings up an interesting point. And this is my educational moment. And this is something I think we need to see more of in the Pokemon community. And to emphasize this story, because the Olympics are going on, I have to tell you an Olympic story, Cory. I don't know if did you watch the men's 1500 meter race yesterday?
Yes. The finals?
The finals.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I
Yes.
thought this was so well done.
Yeah.
Even the media splashes before. I didn't know a whole lot about this. A mutual friend of ours, Beth Wilson,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
told me to watch this race because she
Yep.
is a marathon runner. Shout out to Beth.
Yeah.
But the hype around this race was between two European runners who have dominated this race over the last 3 or 4 years, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what the whole package was about.
Yeah.
Everybody else was an outside. Maybe they'll get the bronze, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening in this race, and I'm not trying to be very American centric about this, I'm trying to make it more about the individual, but
Yeah.
Cole Hawker
Hawker.
from the United States, which, if you know anything about the 1500 meters, we're not relevant
No.
in this race.
No.
Holds in down the stretch, believes, and takes it away from the Great Britain runner in the final. And then the other runner that was hyped up didn't even medal. Another American got the bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jared.
Jared.
You got to believe, Cory. Like, I could get on my Ted Lasso train right now, put the sign up and start. Regardless of whether you're a front runner in Worlds or whether you barely sneaked in at Worlds, if it's your first regional, your first league, you got to believe you can win this. You have got to believe that you can win this. Let's look at last year's Worlds. You have Vance Kelly up against Tord in the finals. What an underdog.
Yeah.
What an underdog.
Well,
Took it down.
And to bring it full circle, the runner that was in first was from Norway, a Norwegian, with the American right behind him, and then he just went a little too into track and left the opening for Vance Kelly. I mean, a Hawker, and then Cole passed the Norwegian just like he passed Tord, and it's this tale as old as time. So sadly there was no Great Britain on the Worlds that year or last year, but no, Jared, I'm with you, man. You don't. Kind of back to our last week's episode, you don't give up. In some matches, when it's the right move, it's the right move.
Absolutely.
Sometimes just like go one more turn and see if another avenue opens up, because maybe your opponent does make a mistake, and then boom, you're first place and you win and you take it down. That was a very exciting race.
It was a very exciting race, but it's all about tenacity. No one else is gonna believe in you for you.
Yeah.
It starts with you. And I know I wrestle with this. If you place yourself before the tournament starts, that's probably your ceiling. Yeah. And the floor is much, much lower. You've got to believe that when you sit down every match, that you can win that match and that you can win. Otherwise, you're not going to luck into it in a field like this, in a cities, in a regionals, at league. You've got to believe that you can get the dub and meet your goals.
Love it. You have the same 60. You get the same cards everyone else gets to use. Same cards.
Absolutely.
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Got to have the belief. We've talked about a lot of other skills on this show that you have to have, but this is foundational. So for those of you that are out there listening, our regular listeners, some world listeners, some friends of the show, get rid of the negative mindset. Anyone at Worlds can win. And if you're there, you can win. You've worked hard to get there. I want to see some high-level competition. I want to see it come down to the cards. I don't want it to come down to somebody's mindset.
Preach it.
Let's go. Good. We're going to keep it short and simple. Chorus, tenacity. I want to see some tenacity. I want to see some belief. If I need to send out a bunch of 8x10s of Cole Hawker for people to put up in their hotel rooms, motel rooms in Hawaii, I'll do it. Be inspired. And it's just such a fun time right now with the Olympics closing down. And then we get to go right into another major world tournament for us. What a great time to enjoy competition, Cory.
Yeah. What year do you think Pokemon just becomes part of the Olympics?
I don't know. I want to see it. There's it's a whole nother podcast to talk about what a sport is.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
We
Yes,
won't
yes.
get down that rabbit hole today. But I am thankful that Worlds happens every year in Pokemon and that I don't have to wait 4 years to see
Oh,
people from all over the world come together to compete. So
yeah.
kudos to Pokemon on its annual agenda.
Good job, Pokemon. Good job. We're rooting for you.
But that's really going to wrap us up from today. Just reviewing our episode. No Petrant at Worlds. TV
No
reporter.
Petrant.
No Petrant. We've got our Power Glass quick fire questions. We'll be checking in on those after Worlds. We talked about the neutralization zone, what's going on at Worlds, and then we talked about our education moment. Have some tenacity, have some belief for all of you out there, regardless of the tournament you're playing in. If you're just sitting down playing on live, have some tenacity and some belief that you can get it done in that game.
Even if you're going up against a Snorlax stall deck, you're fine. Keep playing. Or just quit. And move on to another game.
Next week, tune in for us. We will be so close to Worlds. We will be having our final thoughts on them, be talking about some more decks, maybe some ones that are coming in here at the last moment. But as always, the best way that you can help us, like or subscribe. We're close to 1K subscribers. We can taste it, y'all. We can taste it. Help us get there. We want to get there.
We're there. We're so close.
Send us a comment. We'd love to chat with you. Thanks for tuning in with us as always. For Cory and Jared, this is Teach Me Pokemon. We'll catch you all later. Oh, no.
You can find us at roguemedianetwork.com. Teach Me Pokemon Podcast. Come and dive with us.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.